Hello and welcome back to another one of my videos. In today's video we've got a 2007 VW Touran. Customer complaint is lots of smoke. What he said was from the GR valve or from the front of the exhaust, and he wanted me to repair the gasket. But what it turns out to be is, I think, is a blocked DPF filter, and it's just back pressure is just blowing past the gasket at the front. Have a listen and I'll show you what it sounds like. And this car has done 117, nearly 118,000 miles. Definitely exhaust gas is escaping from somewhere. Right, so there's very little live data available for my scan tool on this VW. What particularly I was after was the DPF pressures, the differential pressures from the DPF. What we were looking at, probably up to 30 millibar at idle and 50 millibar at fast idle, 2,500 to 3,000 RPM. Now I couldn't find that, or I couldn't get the PIDs up on my scan tool, so we'll go manually and we'll put the manometer on and we'll have a look from there. So I'll see you around the front. Right, off, idle, I think we can safely say that DPF is a bit blocked, so a bit of further investigation is required. Hi, welcome back. It's the next day. It's actually Saturday afternoon now. It's a nice bright sunny day down here in Kent in the UK. I've been to the local factors and I've got a can of DPF spray. But before we do that, we're going to take some scope readings from the DPF sensor and see what we got. What we're looking for, I believe, so I've been reliably informed, is on the signal wire 0.8 to 1 volt at idle and up to 1.4 volt at 2,500 revs. So we'll back probe the 3 wires on the sensor and we'll see what we got. But let me just show you what spray I've got. It's the good stuff. It's the JLM DPF cleaning spray, and that comes with an application tube to go on the spray can, and that goes down inside the DPF filter through the temperature sensor or one of the DPF pressure pipes. So what we need to do with this, we need to get the engine hot, we need to turn it off, and then we need to take off a DPF pressure pipe or a sender or temperature sender and squirt the whole can in. And then it says after you've squirted the whole can in, you're supposed to give it a regen, which I don't think we'll be able to do, and I can't road test it to do a regen on the road because it's not taxed. So what we do is we get it nice and hot, we squirt the stuff in, and then we'll sit here and we'll rev it and we'll just try and blast it all out and see how that goes. So be back in a minute. Right, we're at the scope. I've got the scope monitor up there. So at the moment we're reading 0 volts. So on this one, the DPF pressure sensor is right on the top, just held in that bracket by one bolt, and then it comes out. And at the moment we've got the back probed on what looks like to be a purple wire. So we're just going to start that up and see what that does. Right, so you can see this is the idle. And we'll let it do another full screen. Do is we'll stop it there, we'll turn the car off, and then we'll go back a page, and that pin there, if I can just bring a ruler down, so on that pin at idle we've got 547 millivolts, which is, well, it's a bit high for an earth, a bit high for ground, it's a bit lower than what we should think it's a signal wire. So let's just see what happens when we rev it. So we'll set it going again. Alright, spare me a moment. Well, I've got you focused on the screen up on the roof. We'll start the car back up again. Alright, now we're giving some rev. That's all we got. Alright, so we'll stop the scope. We'll go back a couple of pages. Right, so this is where we've done our fast idle. See, that's the 0 volt line now. That's the 0 volt line now. Then at idle, we had 566 millivolts, and then at 3000 RPM, we had about 943 millivolts. So let's just write that down. And so when you can see when we revved it at the end, it peaked at 1.4. So that may be our signal wire. But let's do the other two wires and see what we get. Right, now we're on the center wire and we're at 0 volts. So I'm just going to start this up. We're still about 0, so give it a rev. Okay, so that pretty much stayed at 0. Let's just stop that running. We'll go back a page. Yeah, that's pretty much the old time. So that must be our return wire, our ground wire. So let's change the pin again. Right, now we're on the third wire. We've got 0 volts at the moment. So let's turn the ignition on, and we'll see what we get. I'll focus you up there. Right. So that will be our 5-volt reference wire, which is bang on 5 volts. Change the scaling. There we go. Right, we'll give that a rev to make sure we get a steady 5 volts. Right, wait for the pace to change. Right, revving. Okay. Right, so if we can go by those readings that we've just got, the filter might not be as blocked as what we thought if the sensor's reading right. Now to me it sounds like it is blocked, and on the manometer with the steady 100 millibar pressure at 2,500–3,000 RPM, that's too high, so that would indicate a blockage. And it was reading at 25–30 millibar at idle, which is again slightly too high, I would say. You'd expect under 30 millibar and less than 50 millibar at 2,500–3,000 RPM. Now, according to our sensor, we had on the sensor wire, we had 566 millivolts at idle, which apparently we should have between 0.8 and 1, so that's a little bit low. And we had 974 millivolts when we revved it to 2,500–3,000 RPM. That sort of speed, we should have less than 1.4, which we did have. Again, a little bit low. And when we revved it, when we blipped the throttle, like give it a wide open like blast, it peaked at 1.4 volts, and that is when the pressure was reading 160 or 160 plus millibars. So we'll get it nice and warm. I'll get it jacked up, and then we'll see where we can put this JLM spray into the vehicle. I'll be back in a bit. Right, looking from underneath the vehicle, I was trying to find a temperature sensor or something to put the spray into, but I can't see nothing from underneath. I don't know whether you can see, but there's a lot of sooty stuff up there. If I can get a light up there somewhere, up by that EGR valve or EGR valve pipe. There's a lot of soot up there. I don't know whether that'll focus on that. Focus, is it going to focus? I can't see whether it's focused or not. But there's not a lot of access from down here. I can see the tube right at the top. I don't know whether I can zoom in. If I can. It is right up there. I don't know whether it'll focus on that. Focus. But it is right up there anyway. So there's nothing we can do from down here at the moment. Right, so looking from the top, let's de-enhance. All you can see is that thick pipe there. That's your precious that's your pressure tube from the top of the DPF where we need to get into. the smaller pipe behind it, this one is the pipe that goes down to the rear of the DPF. This one's got no pressure on it. This one, the thick one, is the one with the main pressure. And that, as far as I can tell, this pipe, this thick pipe here, it disappears round. I don't know whether you can see down there. Let's get a light. Hang on. There we go. The pipe disappears, and where that braided bit is there, that's where it joins onto the metal part of the pipe, which goes into the top of the DPF. The pipe up here joins the metal pipe, and it goes down the side down to the bottom. So we need to get this pipe off here, this thick pipe, and that is where we'll be putting our spray into. But first of all, we've got to get the car warmed up. Well, I've got this tube into the pipe as far as I can, and if I pull it out, we've got a good 6 inches there, 6-7 inches, and that pipe can't be that much longer than that before it goes into the top of the DPF. So I think we'll be happy with that. So what I'm going to do at the moment is just put the we'll just clip the pressure sensor back in there into the top of the pipes. And we'll run that up to temperature, and then we'll squirt the stuff in. So I'll be back in a bit. Well, I squirted the whole can in, took a few minutes, and now I'm just sitting here at fast idle, 2,500, and we'll sit here for about 20 minutes or so and see whether it makes any difference. So we'll be back in a minute. Well, as you can see from those figures, it has improved it slightly. I've only run it for, stay at me. I've only run it for 15-20 minutes, but the DPF pressure at idle has come down from 25-30 to about 10. At fast idle, at 2,500 RPM, it's gone down from 100 to 80 something, 80, 85, somewhere around there. It still peaks at 145 when you blip the throttle hard, but it's better than it was. So what we're going to do now, we're going to try and pressurise the front part of the exhaust with an airline, and try and find where that leak is underneath. I suspect it's coming from the EGR valve gasket, but we'll see if we can seal that up and go from there. So in conclusion, what's the end result going to be? Well, I've spoken to the guy that owns it, and he doesn't want to spend too much money on it. So I think we're going to leave it at that for the time being. We put some cleaner through it. We've got the pressures down. I've been underneath. I can't 100% find where the exhaust gas leak is coming from. I suspect it's coming from the EGR valve cooler flange, where the pipe bolts onto the EGR cooler. But without taking the drive shaft down, without taking the drive shaft down, and getting all that out of the way, you can't see anything. Even if you get a light and a mirror up there, you really can't see anything. I've pressurized the system. I've pressurized the top part of the exhaust through the differential pipe with that airline to give it about 5 psi to try and find the leaks with soapy water. Couldn't find anything with soapy water. I've tried being under the car with it running at a high RPM to see if I could see anything, but it only seems to do it when you rev it, or on, well, yeah, it's mainly when you blip the throttle. So really it's a two-man job. But I've said to him, I said, just put some additive in the tank. I said, give it a good run. Obviously I can't do that because it's not taxed. So he's going to take it away. He's going to try and use it himself. And see how it goes. So unfortunately, guys, it's not a fix, but it's the next best thing. We're going to ship it, and hopefully it won't come back. So thanks for watching, guys, and to the next one.